What's up, y'all? This is Relly. I'm back with another video. Yes, son. Today we got to talk about the Cleveland Cavaliers and ask yourself if Sexland is truly the future of the Cleveland Cavaliers. But before we get into that, I need y'all to smash that subscribe button. If you are already subscribed to my channel, share this to somebody who ain't subscribed, because we are on that grind with y'all. I know I can get there. And when y'all are done with that, I need you to hover over to that like button and smash that too, so we can tell the YouTube algorithm to share this video with the world. But with all that being said, we must talk about Sexland. I'm not gonna lie, I did not see this type of development between these two guys at this point of the season, right? A lot of people know I've had a lot of hope on Darius Garland. I've always believed that Darius Garland, he was going to blossom, right? He was going to blossom once he found his confidence. I've always said that, right? But on the other hand, I've always said with Collin Sexton, I've always questioned his IQ to the games, right? And a lot of people would ask me, why is that? But when they start watching the games the way I start watching the games too, they start seeing what I was saying. And Darius Garland's IQ when it comes to passing was very poor, right? To say the least. Like, it's very poor. I'm not trying to hate on Collin Sexton because he is a young guy. He can develop that IQ. But for what we see at the moment, his IQ was terrible. But I cannot disrespect how good of a scorer Collin Sexton is in the game. Collin Sexton can score that basketball, and anybody who says otherwise is willfully disrespectful, willfully ignorant to how he plays basketball. But I think going forward, right, if we're going to make up our mind and say Darius Garland and Collin Sexton is the duo of the future for the Cleveland Cavaliers, we need to put some pieces around Collin Sexton and Darius Garland to make sure they can develop right. Because right now, I think Jarrett Allen is a great third option, right? He could potentially be a second option if he develops right, because he's young. He's just as young as Collin Sexton and Darius Garland, which puts the Cleveland Cavaliers in a very great situation. And also, I think it's time for me to talk about Isaac Okoro, because I know a lot of people is beating Isaac Okoro, but like I said before, Isaac Okoro is not a offensive player, right? He's a defensive player, right? Players like him, comparable, like let's say Jimmy Butler and Kawhi Leonard, did not have offensive games coming off the draft, right? They did not have those type of offensive gifts. They developed that, right? And Isaac Okoro is going to need probably 2-3 seasons to really get his confidence offensively, just like I said with Darius Garland. And I'm not saying Isaac Okoro is going to be some star, but we got to give him some time to find himself as a player. You get what I'm saying? And this is why I think if we can do that, get some pieces around this team could potentially be a playoff team, right? And to be honest, if we can get our stuff together right now, we could be in the play-in, right? I really think we could do that. But like I said before, we would have to get our stuff together right now. We also have reports that JB is interested in telling the team to shoot more threes, right? And honestly, I agree with this direction for the Cleveland Cavaliers. But in order for us to be more committed to shooting threes, we must get some three-point shooters, right? We gotta get some hitters, because if we noticed anything from last night's game, when we play sloppy, we get a lot of turnovers and we can't hit shots. We get in situations where we lose games, just like last night, where we should be in situations where we should have had that game closed out. We should have won that game. That was a winnable game, right? But when you can't hit shots, you play sloppy, you get turnovers, you put yourself in situations where you can't win games. And this is why I think if we can get some more three-point shooters or develop some players that can shoot some threes, we would be in a better situation, right? Especially in this modern day of basketball, right? Players must shoot threes, right? I love Ben Simmons, but he has to shoot a three. This is why you've seen the development of Lonzo Ball. Yes, I know he's on the Cleveland Cavaliers, but he is a great example of a player that was kind of stagnant when it comes to shooting, and you see how Lonzo Ball has developed into a three-point threat. You get what I'm saying? Also, it seems like the Cleveland Cavaliers is once again lurking some talent because they have signed Jeremy Martin to a two-way contract, which I feel like they're trying to experiment. And, that's a good thing, right? I feel like the Cleveland Cavaliers is in a situation where they can try out players and see what works for them. And I feel like more teams that's in the situation of the Cleveland Cavaliers should try to experiment because they have nothing to lose. And I feel like it only helps them, especially when they're trying something new. Also, prayers up to Taurean Prince because he suffered a season-ending injury, and it's very unfortunate for him to have encountered this because Taurean Prince is a player that shows attitude. He is a player that can do a lot of things on the court defensively as well as stretch the floor with his shooting. And a player like him is needed, right? A lot of teams in this NBA needs a talent like him. And I just hope him a great recovery, successful recovery. And I wish and I hope that he can get on the court as fast as possible in the best way for him. Also, I feel like I must address this, right? Because I've seen a lot of people say we should fire JB Bickerstaff. And honestly, I don't agree with that statement. I know a lot of people gets upset with a lot of JB's rotations, but you must understand what he's dealing with, right? For 9 times out of 10, he doesn't have a fully healthy roster. Also, he has to battle and literally jungle between certain players because we have to make sure they maintain a healthy outlook. Then with the pandemic and all of these type of changes that's just happening out of nowhere, he really doesn't have the chance to really flex the rotation he really wants to be, right? And on top of that, what we have seen, he has improved our defense, especially in the beginning of the season, right? Our players was playing some defense, and he's trying to implement a system where we do shoot more threes, which can only help our roster. Yes, he's going to have to get better on rotations, but I think we're going to notice a huge difference in his rotation when he gets a fully healthy roster, as well as what happens in this offseason, right? Which means I think a lot of this is going to be on Kobe Altman and what roster changes he's going to do to help JB Bickerstaff have a better roster to rotate. And as the months goes on, the weeks goes on, I will make a video addressing what I think the Cleveland Cavaliers should do in the offseason, including the draft. And for more amazing content, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you can be a part of the grind. And with that being said, go.
Hey, motivated all about cash flow, ran it up and ran out of excuses. In the field and we turn into hoopers. For the clip like bonds we shoot, just like some soldiers we trooping. Step back 3, we hooping. We on house just like Fortnite.